Hello guys and welcome back to my channel and welcome to this Love is Blind review. I will be recapping episodes 4 to 6 in this video. If you haven't already, go and check out my episodes 1 to 3 review if you haven't seen it already. And then let's get into this, or if you want to watch this and then go back and watch the other. I'm not judging. Watch in whatever order you want to watch in.
Didn't know what I needed till I saw you.
Okay, so we kickstart episode 4 and we're seeing Jeremy, Laura and Sarah. We see Jeremy talking with Sarah and he says he doesn't believe in talking during sex, which that alone, red flag. I'd be like, no, messing around. But yeah, we see Sarah saying, you know, she feels like she can truly be herself around him and she hasn't had that before. But obviously Jeremy is getting to know Laura as well. And she's with the girls, like, she doesn't know what's going on. She doesn't know if she's his first or second choice. Do you know what I do want to say about Laura? From what I've seen of her in the girls' quarters, she seems like a good time. Like, she's always having fun with the girls, making jokes, talking about dating. We saw in previous episodes, like, the stare downs she does at the bar. She seems like a good time. I just want to say that about Laura. So, yeah, so then we see Laura with Jeremy, and she's, like, getting emotional, saying she's got way more pros than cons for him. And he's saying, you know, in bed he just can't stop thinking about her. And he just wants to hug her. And then he says he's falling for her. And in that moment, I'm like, okay, he's probably going to pick Laura, not Sarah. We see Clay and AD shout out the Azul in the pod. He's pouring his heart out, saying, you know, how she makes him a better man and all of this. He reads a Bible verse and I'm like, okay, yeah, he's definitely about to propose. Also, this season, there is a lot of, like, religion, Christianity, more than other seasons. Is it? I want to find out. I don't actually know where it's based, but it must be somewhere where that is heavily a religious area. But yeah, AD's very, like, giddy and giggly, and he tells her he's fallen in love with her. He's never gonna abandon her. And I always get nervous when they show things like this. It's like, is it foreshadowing? Is he about to go rogue later on? And yeah, he then proposes. I'm smiling. I'm loving this moment. They're probably going to come to us with some BS about them later and it all just blows up. But in the moment, I'm like, let me just enjoy it. We get to see Brittany and Ken see each other for the first time. Their reaction is very pure. They kiss and everything. Okay, so to be fair, they do kiss. Brittany says before it's probably going to be like a tame kiss because they are both, like, strongly Christian. And then when they sit down, like, Ken, that's his name. He sat, like, you know, hands to himself and is giving more friend energy to me in that moment as opposed to, I don't know. But, I mean, they do say the best relationships have a strong foundation of friendship. So maybe that's what that is. We'll see. So then we go back to Trevor and Chelsea and she gives him this bracelet that vibrates when she taps it so that they'll know when each one is thinking about each other, which is really cute. I think I probably did something like that. I'm a lover girl. I said it. Shoot me. So yeah, I'm guessing, like, in this moment, they've got to get, like, gifts for each other. And Trevor lets her know, like, whatever you're going through, we're going through together. And a line like that will always get me because you come into this world alone, right? You're doing life alone. And then to have someone be like, I'm here to do this with you. And especially when you're, I don't know how old she is, but I want to say she's like late 20s, early 30s. She has been married before, to be fair. But if you've been, like, alone for so long and someone's now like, I want to do this with you, in the heart. Here's where I'm like, So he lets Chelsea know that he loves her. And she says she feels the same. Which is not the same as saying, I love you too. She says, I feel the same. So I was like, in that moment, I was like, she's probably going to go with Jimmy. And spoiler alert, she does. She ends up picking Jimmy. I'm going to, again, it's going to be all over the place, but I'll speak on couples, but kind of go in order as well at the same time. And I feel like a big part of her picking Jimmy is that it felt like Jessica wanted him too. So he seemed more desirable as opposed to Trevor, who was like, I'm here for you. And she did like mention dating guys that weren't as nice. So maybe she likes to work for it a bit or something. I don't know, like she didn't listen to what she should have listened to. She should have gone with Trevor, in my opinion. But yeah, she ends up picking Jimmy. He proposes. She says yes. Her reaction all the time though, because, okay, I'm jumping around. Before I get to their proposal, I'll get to it in a bit. But then we see Jimmy and Jessica, and they've done gifts as well. She's done a gift for him, and she gives him a box, and it's a love letter. Oh, it was, yeah. It's very sweet. It's like she wrote it to her future husband. And it was just so, I got a bit teary even her reading it out. Jimmy gets emotional reading the letter. And in this moment, I'm like, maybe he might pick Jessica. But then there's an awkward silence. Like, Jimmy will go silent for a while before he says anything. And like I said, I never know what it is that he's thinking. So Jessica asks him how he feels. And he says he's happy and lucky he's the one that gets to read the letter. But that's all he can say. And he's like, I don't know what else to say at that point. And I would be, I'd be like, bro, like I've shared something so sacred with you. And that's all you've got to say. But I do feel like the fact she has a child is holding him back in his head. And the fact that Chelsea looks like Megan Fox is also playing on his mind. But yeah, she's not happy with the response. And yeah, from there it goes south. They get into an altercation and she's like, maybe you're not used to being with someone direct. Like, this is me if you don't want it type thing. And yeah, they end up cutting the date short and she's like, you go and get clarity and then come back to me type thing. But yeah, I think she's done fighting for him at this point. But then we see him go on a date with Chelsea. And again, he hasn't got a gift because he didn't get a gift for her. And he didn't get a gift for Chelsea either. And what's interesting is Jess wants to talk about the date with Chelsea. She's like, okay, so tell me about your date with Chelsea. Why are you feeling a certain type of way? And he ends up telling her, but when Jessica was asking Jimmy about Chelsea, he didn't want to say anything. So in that moment, like, he's open to telling Chelsea more, but not Jess. And I was like, oh yeah, he's probably leaning to Chelsea. And then he tells Chelsea he loves her. And her reaction is the same reaction when he proposes. She falls to the floor like, I'm going to throw up. I'm like, is this good? Is it bad? Like, girl, stand up. Literally stand up. They end up finding out, she's very happy to hear it. But yeah, she's still sounding like she's torn between the two in that moment. And then, yeah, Chelsea goes into back to the women's quarters and lets some of the girls know what's said. And then we have Laura, who goes over to Jessica and is like, he's not your man. And she's like, what did she say? What happened? And she's like, just know he's not your man. And I want to know, guys, comment below, like, do you think it was right for Laura to say, forget about him and not tell her what was said? Or she should have told her what was said? Like, how do you feel like that was handled? I was like, if I was Jessica, I'd probably want to know as much as it hurt me instead of my mind wandering maybe even to worse. But in the end, she did find out because when she went to her final date with Jimmy, she confronts him about the fact that, he had told Chelsea he loves her. And she's like, you had made your decision already. And Jimmy's trying to say he hadn't, but he had. Like, if you tell one person you love them and not the other, you low-key, you had decided what you were going to do. And yeah, she's like, you've ruined my opportunity here, because she was just so focused on him. And she wishes that she had explored other connections. And then she says, and I want to read this, she says, when you see me, you're going to choke. And I hope you have an EpiPen to open up your airwaves. I said, damn. And then she says, God bless you, Jimmy. We see Clay and AD meet for the first time. And initially, right before they met up, I was getting nervous because they kept emphasizing how he said, like, the physical is important. And I'm like, is he going to have an issue with how AD looks? Which he shouldn't, because she's, like, stunning. But it's like, why do they keep going back to this? But they meet. He loves everything about her. He can't keep his hands off of her. I don't know why. He seemed shorter than what I would have imagined. Because doing the maths, like AD is, I guess, she said she's 5'5", and her heels were probably like 4 or 5 inches, making her 5'10" when they were about the same height. But when he was sat in the pose or by himself, he looked like 6 foot almost. And he was slimmer than what I thought he'd be. But yeah, they seem really happy with each other. It's a very, like, they're very excited. I can imagine what it's like in that moment. It was very, I loved it. But yeah, and, you know, she gets up, gives him a little twirl. And he makes a point to say he's very impressed and likes what he sees, which I always think is very important in these moments, because you're nervous meeting the person who hasn't seen you yet. And running through your mind is obviously you're thinking, I hope they like how I look. I hope they like how I look. So yeah, as I said, Chelsea chooses Trevor over Jimmy. Part of me wants Trevor and Jessica to get back together. Later on in the previews, we see they do come back. If they get together, I wouldn't be mad at that. But yeah, so Trevor, unfortunately, Jimmy proposes first, and Trevor's like, if I had asked first, would you have said yes? And Chelsea's just crying. He handles it well. You can see he's really hurt. I'm gutted for him. I do wish him and Jessica, they would make a beautiful couple. But here's one thing. Trevor was on the money, because he said to her, so you're choosing someone who wanted another girl over someone who was sure they wanted you, which is a really good, like, I really hope if I ever did this show, I wouldn't make a decision like that, because you have a man here who's all for you. But this is the thing, like with Chelsea's past and everything, maybe Jimmy seemed more excited and like she was winning something by choosing him, if that makes sense. So yeah, then we see Jeremy and Sarah. He lets her know he's gonna, move forward with Laura. And in that moment, it was like Sarah, you could see she emotionally shut down, because she didn't cry. It was just like, okay, preserve everything and just be like, okay, yeah, okay, cool. And it was heartbreaking when she walked into the women's quarters and Laura's like, she says to Laura, it's you, basically. And they hug. And this is what I mean. You could see Laura was like a good person, like even just their interaction and how that was all handled between the two of them. You could see there was love there, which was nice to see. And yeah, so we see Jeremy propose to Laura. She, of course, says yes. We see Jimmy getting ready to meet Chelsea. He says Jessica's name by mistake. Very awkward. And when they meet, I mean, I was nervous anyway, because obviously in his mind, he's ready to see Megan Fox. I had like two emotions while they met. At one point, I was like, okay, he seems excited to see her. Her run, I mean, she said it was like a... She said it was like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. But when they meet, I'm like, again, he's hard to read. Because in some moments, I'm like, okay, he seems like he really likes her. He keeps kissing her. But then he's also very silent in moments. He does an awkward look to the camera at one point. I can't gauge I was just like, oh, this is uncomfortable. I don't know. He has a lot of nervous energy. But yeah, they sit down. And then he tells her he almost went home, like it drained him. And she's like, because it's literally like way to kill the moment. Like, why are you telling me this now when we're meeting for the first time? And yeah, she doesn't look happy to hear it. And she's like, how do you feel now? And he's like, oh no, I'm happy to be here. But you can see the moment, he's tainted it now. So yeah, we get to, I guess they're now on their holiday. They go to the Dominican Republic. Or maybe it's in his interviews, I can't remember. But Jimmy's like, he's rude. Jimmy is rude, guys. Jimmy's like, yeah, she lied. She said she looked like Megan Fox. I was like, so clearly that's the only reason he picked her. And that's what you get. Because that's not what this whole experiment is about. And he keeps saying, I don't care what you look like. He keeps saying, I don't care what you look like. I like you for who you are. I don't know how I'd feel if someone kept saying that to me. Because it's almost like, yeah, you look like that, but don't worry about it. I like you. Like, comment below. Am I oversensitive or do you guys feel the same? So then, yeah, we see Jeremy and Laura meet. again, like, she just couldn't stop laughing. And I don't know if that's just her and she just laughs in situations like that. I wasn't sure if she was going to like him, but it seems like they're attracted to each other. Like, she's kissing him and everything. So, yeah, I guess we have 5 engaged couples and they are off to the Dominican Republic for their honeymoon. So, another red flag with Jimmy. When we see Chelsea and Jimmy, and he's like, oh, I've got a bone to pick with you. I told you not to tell people that I said I loved you. And then Jessica knew or something like that. And it's like, if you truly care, why are you trying to keep it a secret, Jimmy? What is there to hide? And then he says, you know, he didn't have his mind made up when he told her that he loved her. He was still torn. And I'm like, Jimmy, my guy, you're digging a hole. You're digging a hole for yourself. And then him telling Chelsea, like, everything Jessica said, like, when you see me, you're going to choke. Like, this is not useful. It's not helpful. She doesn't need to know this. I mean, honesty is the best policy. I get that. But this, you could have kept away because you see Chelsea's reaction, like, oh, dear. We see AD and Clay. AD, by the way, looks unreal in that blue bikini. Mwah, chef's kiss. And, you know, Clay makes a nice point. Like, he doesn't want to just overly sexualize as much as he's attracted to her. He wants to know that he's there for her too, which is really nice to hear. We see a lot of this. We see her explaining to him how wedding rings work. Later, she's explaining to him other things. I'm like, has Clay ever been to a wedding or known anyone who's married? Because he seems so confused by anything to do with weddings. It's like he's hearing about weddings for the first time. Was that just me that noticed that? But yeah, they're in the hot tub anyway. Sexual tension at an all-time high. Cut to Brittany and Kenneth. They're sweet then. So they're getting into bed and he's like, they should make it a habit to unpack their day every night before they go to bed. And I'm nervous because I'm like, oh my God, did they have an argument or something that we hadn't seen and they're about to address it now? But no, as always, it's very wholesome with them. So yeah, then we see Jimmy and Chelsea, and throughout the theme is like, you can see there's probably some insecurities there because she's asking a lot of questions to get reassurance. I was talking to my friend about this. I thought it was just insecurities, but he was saying, you see this, like, women know, and she can tell he's gone off her. That's what he thinks. So she can feel the air of him not really feeling it, which is why she keeps being like, what do you like about me? What do you... Da-da-da-da? Jesus Christ, yeah. Jimmy, please. Jimmy, help me help you. She says, what's the first thing you noticed? And he says, your big square white teeth. And he's like, that means I like your smile. No, it means you call my teeth big, white, and square. But where she's losing me is she's like, oh, what did she say? Oh, I noticed your beautiful eyes. See, that's a nice thing you can say. And I don't take well to like passive aggressive type comments. Like, say it with your chest. Say you're not happy with the comment he gave you. Stop saying, I know how to give a nice comment. Just say, I want to hear something more nice, if that makes sense. But yeah, she is not happy with his answer. And she asked him, do you feel the same way about me as you felt in the pods? Words of affirmation is definitely her love language. But then I'm wondering also, maybe does he just not express himself much? So she has to keep asking questions to just get information out of her. But then after all that, he finally tells her he loves her. She looks absolutely gorgeous, like gives her all the words that she wants. And he's like, your pretty's green, blue eyes, your smile. Yeah, so then on to the last episode 6. So we see Amy and Johnny. I feel like they're just smooth sailing. If anything, we're going to see from any of their issues later down the line. But in this moment, she's like their physical connection. Yeah, physical connection, 11 out of 10. Clearly, they had a great night, according to her. So yeah, the couples are doing their activities for the day, like day dates. Ken and Brittany, they get massages. Love that. And then we see Jeremy and Laura like bows and arrows. I would much rather a massage. And then we see, Clay and AD. And they're talking about, like, if she got out of shape, how would you say? And he said he'd be like, get a fuck in the gym or something like that. Which, I mean, it opens the conversation. Again, I was talking to my friend about this and I was like, when you're starting out dating someone in a new relationship, I think you should have a conversation at the beginning, letting each other know how you would want to be told, you've fallen off, or, you know, you're losing yourself a bit. Like, I think it is an important conversation to have, so it's good they were having it, and good she found out he needs to find a new way to express it, because that is not it. And yeah, Clay tells AD that he's fucked up a little bit, and she's like, that's sexy, her telling him. I don't think that's sexy. To me, that's red flag, and I'm out. Maybe that's my issue, but I don't know. I don't want anyone messed up. But yeah, we see them like getting deep speaking, and AD is telling Clay she doesn't feel like she deserves love, which is really sad to hear. But it's like, in that moment, in that conversation, I was like, you can see the potential of not just physical chemistry, but a good friendship, which is required in marriage. Like, the way in which they were able to really speak with each other in that moment, it was sweet. So then we see Chelsea and Jimmy again, and she's asking him what's his type. He definitely avoids the question. And she asks him, is there anything you're unsure about? He says he wouldn't have got on one knee if he wasn't sure, which, fair. But I feel like her asking, is there anything you're unsure about? She's asking, after we've met now, do you have anything you're unsure about? So again, he's kind of with the questions. He says what I'm thinking. Like, she keeps asking him if he's happy, and he keeps having to reiterate it. And it's like, if he said, even though he could be lying, who knows? But if he said he's happy, just take him on that, or tell him you don't believe him. Because to keep asking the same question is going to get annoying. But yeah, so then Chelsea says she's been cheated on a lot, which all starts to make sense. You would think Jimmy takes this on board. Then we have the couples meeting each other, and let's just the first thing, the girls, like, the guys go and sit with each other, the girls go and sit with each other, and I'm loving all the girls' energy. It's given like Sex in the City. It's very fun. They're talking about who's been intimate, how it reminds me of an episode of Sex in the City. I loved it. But like, minutes into that conversation, straight away, Amy's like, oh, I need to go and find Johnny. And she walks off. And I was like, you can't even be away from him and chill with the girls for a bit? Jimmy. Read the room. He goes and tells Chelsea that AD's body looks really good. Mainly talking about her bum. Why are you telling that to a woman that told you she's been cheated on, she's insecure about it, you know she's been feeling like she needs to keep asking for reassurance, and maybe he was drunk, I don't know. Anyway, so he tells her, she then tells AD that he said that, which I don't know why she did. Maybe she was awkward in the moment. And you know what Jimmy does after she says that? He goes and then starts talking to AD, and there was a bit of flirty energy. I'm going to be honest. I saw flirty energy between the two of them. And Chelsea goes to sit with the girls, and I'm just like, Jimmy, why would you handle that situation? Like, that was, and they're speaking for a little while. I don't think it's going to be anything really. I think maybe AD was just being polite. Maybe she likes a bit of a flirt. Anyway, but I don't think she likes Jimmy like that at all. But then we see her go over to the guys and sit with Clay. So it's Jimmy, Clay, Jeremy. Jeremy says that, Jeremy tells AD that Laura told her to give him a bean dip or something like that, which is hitting her boobs, which was just really weird. And I feel like I didn't like how AD's body was just being sexualized as a joke a bit too much. Like, it made me very uncomfortable. And the fact they're just talking about it openly, when that's not funny, saying to a man to go and like slap another woman's boobs in front of her partner. Like, that was very weird. Speaking of weird, we see Jimmy go over to, I think it was Laura and Amy, who are sat with Chelsea, saying he's upset that he didn't make their list. Again, it's like, read the room. Like, Chelsea is upset. You've been speaking to AD, now you're coming and talking to these women before her. He tries to hold her hand, she pulls away. It's just awkward all over. This beach party is awkward. So Jimmy and Chelsea get back to their hotel, and over again, she's like, are you okay? Is there something wrong? Is there something wrong? He's like, he keeps saying nothing's wrong. Finally, he asks her, are you okay? Is there something wrong? And she replied, she was waiting for it. She was like, you weren't giving me enough attention while we were out. All the other men were with their women. You were busy talking to AD. And then she mentions the comment he made about her body. And And again, this is where she loses me a bit, because it's like, if you felt away, you could have said something in the moment. Instead, you made light of it, making it seem like it's okay. And so he thinks green light. He did way too much, though. Way too much. But it's a tricky one. So, yeah, they're going back and forth. They're going round in circles, because he'll apologize and then she'll say it's wrong. But even his apology, though, was so blasé. It didn't feel like he genuinely understood how he hurt her and what he did. She says she feels disconnected from him. He says he was giving her the most affection or attention than any other guy with their partner. It's contradicting. And she contradicts herself. She's like, I don't need you by my side all the time. But then she was saying she wanted him by her side more, but she agreed he was... It was just an argument with a couple after they've been out for drinks and they're meeting people they used to date. Very not your normal situation. But I think the main issue was he did the most. He did too much with AD, and I can see where she's coming from. Like, you come to, even though she may not have handled, like, what she said, maybe she shouldn't have told AD or whatever, but regardless, you've come to me telling me how great another woman's body is after I've told you I've been cheated on and have insecurities, right? So you've come to me, told me how great another woman's body is, and then gone off to have a nice long chat with her. That to me looks flirty. It may not be, but even to other people it looks flirty. It's a bit disrespectful. And so, yeah, it's just, they go around in circles, and she keeps saying, like, I'm telling you my feelings were hurt. I'm telling you my feelings were hurt. Just take it. But he's already apologized, so I don't know what more he can do. Even though the apology was rubbish, he could actually make a better apology. But it's going to be a long road with these two, because did you not hear her? I don't understand. He's not acting accordingly to who he's with. Jimmy is and then we see in the preview, obviously, the old people are going to be coming back. We see Jessica. He's going to see her. It's about to be a long road of mess, and I'm here for it. But yeah, couples that I think are actually going to make it. So there's AD and Clay. I think they're 50-50. There's Amy and Johnny. I think they're going to have a plot twist, like downfall. Jimmy and Chelsea. Yeah, they ain't making it. Ken and Brittany, I do see them working out. Laura and Jeremy, well, we see in the preview he goes to meet up with Sarah. It might just be Ken and Brittany that make it, but we see them having their issues, but I think they will be able to work through it. They may be the only ones. No, and obviously it's not, I don't know. It could go evil, and right now it's looking shaky with a lot of these couples. Oh my God, I completely forgot. Laura and Jeremy, they get into it as well because of the whole bean dip, and he's like, why did you tell me? And Laura's getting annoyed, like, why did you bring it up? And you can see they're like butting heads. And even when I remember there's a moment Laura is speaking with AD about it, and she's like, oh, it's just a joke. It needs to, like, it's not that deep. And AD's like, no, it is. Because it's like, you're not just going to objectify someone's body and say it's a joke. So I'm glad she called her out on that, because she was saying Clay's getting to, like, taking it too deep. And no. But Jeremy and Laura, they're about to go on, so that we got to see the start of their, clashing, shall we say. So yeah, I'm excited for the next episode to see what happens with everyone. Comment below, guys. I would love to hear your thoughts. Which couples are you rooting for, if any? Thoughts on each individual person as well, who you see making it. If you disagree with my opinions, also very excited to hear that. I feel like it's split. Well, a lot of people I speak to are not a fan of Clay. I'm kind of rooting for Clay and AD, but I do see, I don't know. Jimmy and Chelsea, that is about to be car crash TV. But yes, as always, guys, if you did enjoy this video, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff I meant to ask you to do. Please do. And I'm just rambling now, and I don't really know how to end this. So I'm just gonna go.